Good morning. The date is November 20th, 2025. My name is Donna Marie Collins. I am the hearing examiner that will be presiding over this morning's zoning hearing. It's a conventional rezoning request from agriculture to the RS1 zoning district. I am the final decision maker on conventional zoning applications. So once we close the record in this case and I review all the testimony and evidence, I will be rendering a decision probably within a week or 10 days. Do we have any members of the public here? Yes, okay. The progression of the hearing is that the applicant is going to present the case. They're representing the property owners. At the conclusion of their presentation, I may have some questions, and then we will go to the staff planner who prepared the staff report. The staff has recommended approval in this instance to the RS1 zoning district, and because this is a conventional rezoning request, it is not possible to place conditions on the approval, and development of the site must comply with the Land Development Code or seek variances. At the conclusion of the planner's presentation, I will open up the floor to members of the public that wish to speak on the record. Please come to the podium. You may speak as long as you like. I ask that you remain on point and avoid being repetitive. After the public has come to the podium and asked the questions they want to ask, we'll go back to the parties. They will respond to any questions that may have been raised by the public and offer some concluding remarks if they want to, and that will conclude the case. All testimony and evidence I accept at these hearings must be taken under oath, so if you will be speaking on the record, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony and evidence you place into the record will be the truth?
I do. I do.
Okay, I'm ready to begin.
Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner. For the record, Tina Ackblad with Sage Entitlements. I have a housekeeping matter very quickly. I have 2 copies of the PowerPoint for you for the record.
Okay, thank you. This will be applicant Exhibit 2. Exhibit 1 was the applicant's 48-hour notice.
Okay. Additionally, I am a certified planner. My resume is on file. I have been qualified as an expert in the past, and I would ask to be accepted as an expert today in the Lee County Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code.
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. So the property subject to the application before you today is generally in North Lehigh Acres. Vehicular traffic gains access to the site coming north on Sunshine Boulevard to 17th Street, and then takes 17th Street being in this location on the aerial, and then takes a series of local roadways up and around to Kleinhart Drive, which occurs in the uppermost corner of this aerial. The property does have frontage on Kleinhart Drive. It is part of the Greenbrier subdivision, which was recorded in 1971, specifically Unit 34, and the parcel number is 46. According to the boundary survey, the parcel is approximately 5.08 acres. Back in 1971, the property was given a GU, or a general in-term zoning district designation. And in 1974, the property was given an open space zoning. As you know, we don't have that zoning category today. What we do have from the perspective of land use is an urban community future land use along with wetlands, and then an agricultural zoning, and it has been determined that that open space designation from 1974 remains. And what that has done is eliminated development opportunities on this parcel. And so as a result of that, I should note that the property owner, Mr. and Mrs. Weston, are here today, and they have filed this rezoning request to go from AG2 with that open space designation to RS1, which is for single family. That would eliminate that formal open space and permit the construction of a conventional single family residential home and any accessory structures that were permitted. The property owner desires 1 unit on this parcel along with accessory structures. So that is the objective of the rezoning today. The property is located in an area that is surrounded by platted residential lots within the RS1 zoning district. Might be a little difficult to see with the overlay, but generally speaking, most of the properties in this area are vacant. There is some, in addition to the urban community and wetlands future land use, there is some conservation future land use that aligns with the EC zoning, and that is for the Hickory Creek Greenbrier Preserve in the northeast corner of the image before you. From the perspective of Lee Plan consistency, single-family residential is consistent with the urban community future land use. It is also consistent with the very low-density residential that is permitted under the wetlands future land use. It is consistent with the Lehigh Acres planning community, which does support the maintenance of single-family residential in platted communities. I would note that the Lehigh Acres planning community is noted for redevelopment and mixed-use projects, but it does clarify that that is anticipated to occur along arterial and collector roadways to provide greater access to the Lehigh population and the public. This parcel, it does not meet those criteria. Additionally, the Lehigh plan does identify in objective 25.7 that they will encourage open space and parks and rec. However, it does not require that to be maintained on privately owned and platted lots. And so the rezoning today is consistent with that objective. Additionally, objectives 2.1 and 2.2 promote contiguous and compact development. Again, this parcel, while larger than the surrounding existing platted lots, is in an area with existing single-family residential, and urban services either are or will be in place, or the anticipated development of the site is under the threshold by which certain urban services need to be provided. So specifically in standards 4.1 and 4.2, it talks about central connection to utilities when the density is going to be above 2.5. At 1 unit to 5 acres, we do not meet that threshold. Additionally, we did receive a letter of availability from FGUA that is attached to the staff report. The central services is more than 3 miles from the site. So the applicant is choosing to do a septic system and potable water well. I mentioned urban services. Again, we are within that FGUA service area. We are within the service area of Lehigh Acres Fire and the Sheriff. Waste Pro would provide solid waste collection, and Lee County School District would support any children that may be on the site in the future. And there is capacity with all of these systems to support the anticipated development. Finally, the review criteria that you need to consider in making an approval. Yes, the hearing examiner makes an approval in a conventional rezoning. Sorry, the land development code got changed, so I wasn't entirely confident. In making an approval with today's case is that it complies with the Lee plan. Again, as I mentioned, residential uses are permitted within the urban community and wetlands future land use. A single dwelling unit is within the 1 to 6 dwelling units anticipated in urban community. And then the Lehigh Acres planning community does support continued development of existing residential neighborhoods. We have met the code. As you noted, if there is an issue in the future with the property development regulations, we would have to seek a variance. And we can handle that at the time that a design for the property is developed. The anticipated single-family residential use of the lot is compatible with the existing and surround uses, and the property does have the ability to provide appropriate access via a driveway connection to Kleinart Drive, and that frontage is wide enough for multiple connections. But again, if we're only anticipating one single-family dwelling unit, then there's also adequate separation between this lot and any of the adjacent parcels. The impacts to the transportation facilities have already been accounted for in the design of the roadway and the capacity. We would not anticipate that a single unit would overburden or negatively impact the existing local roadways. With regard to the environmental and natural resources, we want to acknowledge that there is a wetland future land use on site. It does appear from aerial imagery that there is a wetland in this, bless you.
Excuse me.
southern portion of the property, and we are aware that there is an exemption process with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection that would need to occur through future development of this site, whether it's to either indicate that the location of the future development is not within a wetland or actually go through a formal delineation process. We are proposing to do that after the conventional rezoning is secured rather than at the same time. We also believe that given our general understanding of what is on site, that the one unit can be designed and oriented to eliminate any potential impacts. And then again, regarding the public services, we are within a service area for all appropriate urban services given the urban community future land use. And we are proposing well and septic rather than a central utility connection due to our density. I believe that is all that I have. I would note that we did host a community meeting. There were 3 members of the Lehigh Acres Architectural Zoning and Planning Review Board in attendance. They had questions about the future development of the site and the wetland impacts, and I believe that we've resolved those, but I also believe that Mr. Felder may be here to speak to that today.
How much of the site is uplands versus wetlands?
Officially, I do not have an acreage determination, but let me go back to a clean aerial. We are anticipating that the wetlands are in this general vicinity, and so this northern portion of the site could be cleared with the frontage on Kleinhardt.
Okay, so I'm looking at this,
Looking at the future land use.
the future land use map. I guess that's what this depicts.
Mhm.
And so the wetlands does not include this lower corner, but that doesn't mean that it's not wet, right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So, I mean, in theory, a house could go there, depending on how big it is,
It could,
unless it's wet.
unless it's wet, and additionally, we would have to pull access from Kleinhardt Drive down into that corner. There's no other public access
No
available.
access, yeah.
And we should probably note that if in an unlikely event the property were sold and the lot were split beyond 2 parcels, that a development order would be necessary, and then you would need a full environmental protection report, including a wetlands jurisdictional determination and a full review by development services, in addition to that 3-mile extension of public utilities.
Well, I've already performed a site check, and
Okay.
it's very, like, country setting, wooded, very rustic. I can see that it would be an ideal location for a house for somebody who wants to have, acreage surrounding them. And I just wanted clarification on the wetland issue. So what you're saying is that with the 5 acres, there's plenty of uplands to develop without impacting the wetlands. But if you do, you have to go through the permitting process to accomplish that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
Thank you.
Beth?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. For the record, my name is Beth Workman. I'm a principal planner in the zoning section. I've been accepted as an expert in LEAP plan and in the land development code, and I wish to be accepted today as well.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. I have copies of the PowerPoint. Here you go, Tina.
Thank you.
This is staff exhibit 3. Thank you. Exhibit 1 was the staff report. Exhibit 2 was staff's 48-hour notice.
So the case before you is REZ2025-00008 Weston rezoning. It is approximately 5.08 acres. Ms. Ekblad went through the location. I have this just labeling the main roadways going through it. The property is right here. In this location, it's south of the Hickey Creek Greenbrier Connector Preserve. You have the Alva Scrub to the north, and the Greenbrier Preserve to the east. And there's like a wider span of it showing Greenbrier Boulevard coming up to this site. was platted, the parcel, and as Ms. Ekblad indicated, it was parcel 46, which is shaded in the blue. It was called out in the zoning resolution in 1974 as an open space tract. Through that zoning resolution, there was the call out right here for that parcel 4546 in an open space part of the plat. And back in 74, open space was defined not allowing any structures on the land. And then a conversion from the RU to the AG2 was done. So it became agriculturally zoned in the zoning district, but had that open space condition, so to speak, in that 74 zoning resolution. The open space designation really isn't a zoning district in today's standards. It's a requirement for larger subdivisions. So this is a single family coming in here that's going to RS1. So the applicant had to come in and to do this, to undo that designation of open space. Otherwise, they could just do a single family on an AG2. So that was the key component in this rezoning because of the designation. So as I said, we're going to RS1. And as Ms. Ekblad went through, these are the findings that the hearing examiner has to approve in order to approve the rezoning. So the future land use category is urban community with that wetland kind of going horizontally through the midsection of the property. The one single family home with accessory structures does meet the urban community definition in Lead Plan Policy 1.1.4. The wetlands would be limited to recreation and open space. The applicant, as Ms. Ekblad had stated, when they apply for the residential permit with the county, there will be a condition on there that this doesn't exempt them from state and federal permitting. So it's in their best interest to find out where the lines of wetlands are to design where the single family structure is going to stay out of the wetlands or go through the permitting process, like Ms. Ekblad said, to mitigate for any impacts. Lead Plan Goal 25 is the conversion of pre-platted areas into the residential and commercial community. And this is what the applicant is doing. These are all vacant, but they are zoned RS1. So the future plan for this area is residential homes with this large lot in the middle for the applicant to develop the single family. So it does match the surrounding land use. You can see the Crescent Canal here, and then the EC zoning district is over in this area. Like Ms. Ekblad stated, there was a community plan. I included this just so that you could see that who was at the meeting and the advertisement, meeting LDC section 33-1401. Like I said, it is compatible with the surrounding land uses. The RS1s are surrounding the AG2 tracts you see here are all designated in the zoning of 74 as open space. So when they did the conversion, they converted them to the agricultural zoning district with that underlying open space requirement. So the access to the property is to Kleinhart, and Kleinhart does have access to Greenbrier, which then connects to Joel, or as Ms. Ekblad stated in her presentation, to Sunshine to the west. So there is access to put a drive to Kleinhart, and there is infrastructure to support a single family home. Environmentally sensitive lands is one of the criteria, and as both staff and applicant have mentioned, there are wetlands on site that will need to be identified to avoid when designing the structures to go on the site or go through the permitting process to mitigate for development. That does not happen at time of zoning. We acknowledge that there's a wetland future land use category on the site. I have been to the site. There are wetlands on the site. That is all a state function through the FDEP permitting process. So urban services, it's one dwelling unit going on 5 acres. So it does not trip the threshold to hook to public services according to the Lee Plan policy 4.1.1 and 4.1.2 of the 2.5 units per acre. And so with that, staff finds that the application does comply with the criteria in 34-145. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. Open up the podium to members of the public who wish to speak.
Just want to go back to your last slide, I think.
Of course, yeah. This one?
One before. That one.
This one,
Yeah,
okay.
that'll work.
Okay.
Derek Felder for the record. Some of the concerns originally when we saw this was, how much of the property is going to get cleared and filled and that and get developed. It is 5 acres, so are they just building one home, or was it going to be, 5 homes or whatever it was going to be? Many of those questions have been answered and things like that. The wetlands obviously is a concern. How much of the site where the house is going to go is going to get filled. With this picture here, it kind of shows the current zoning with the AG2 and the open space designation, I think. So you can see the AG2 and the AG2 and the one across the road, and how it kind of makes a wetland connection to the Greenbrier Preserve. And from my talks with Lamson, that was kind of their interest in this property, actually, was maintaining that somewhat, call it flowway to the preserve area over there from this other greater developed Greenbrier area down towards the southwest area. But it is what it is. Yeah, so those are some of the concerns. But
Does Lamson own the property across the street?
directly across the street, that 3 acre parcel,
the
or whatever.
connecting.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
But that was like you can see there had to have been some kind of intent back in the day.
Right.
I mean, it sure appears that way, but yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the record? All right, we'll close the public input. Does anyone want to make concluding remarks? I feel well prepared for this case. The applicant's narrative and the staff report were comprehensive. I've already gone to the site. I am probably going to start working on this case next since I'm up to date. So I appreciate everyone for the comprehensive presentation, and I can close the hearing unless there's anything additional you'd like to ask or say.
I'm good.
I do not have anything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.